Have you ever wondered what really separates a decent manager from a truly great leader? I mean, is it something you're just born with, or is it a skill you can actually learn? Well, today, we're going to demystify leadership. We're turning it from this vague idea into a practical playbook of skills that anyone can learn. Okay, let's dive in.
You know, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It really captures the high-stakes reality of leadership. Think about Captain Sully Sullenberger. I mean, talk about a crisis. When his plane's engines failed right over the Hudson River, that was the ultimate test. But his calm communication, his decisive action, his absolute focus on his crew and passengers, that showed what it means to lead when everything is on the line. It's a powerful reminder that leadership is forged in the fire.
All right, so here's our playbook for this explainer. We're going to kick things off by really nailing down the difference between a leader and a manager. Then we'll get into the top leadership styles that are working in today's world. We'll unpack that core balancing act between getting tasks done and taking care of people. And then, this is a big one, we'll uncover the unsung power of followership. And finally, we'll look at the actual tools leaders use to make things happen.
Right, first things first. We hear these words thrown around all the time. Leader, manager. But are they the same thing? What is the real difference? Let's break it all down.
Okay, the core difference here is actually pretty simple, but it's also profound. See, management is all about keeping things stable, about creating order. It's organizing, it's assigning tasks, it's making sure the trains run on time. Leadership, though, that's all about people and change. A leader is a visionary. They question why the trains are even on that track in the first place, and they inspire people to build a whole new railway.
And this quote, this gets to the very heart of it. While a manager organizes the work, a leader is committed to the worker. It's about unlocking the potential that's already inside people, so they can bring their absolute best to the table. That, right there, is the crucial difference.
So, if it's all about unlocking people's potential, how does that actually work in the real world? Let's explore some of the different leadership styles. You can almost think of them as archetypes that are really effective in today's kind of crazy, turbulent environment.
First up is what the researcher Jim Collins calls level 5 leadership. And you can think of it like a ladder. You start by being a capable individual. Then you learn to be a good team member, a competent manager, and an effective leader. But that top rung, level 5, that's something really special. It's this wild combination of deep personal humility on one hand and an absolutely fierce, unstoppable professional will on the other. You do whatever it takes to make the organization great. Think about Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, who put it perfectly. CEOs can only do what they do if they have an amazing team.
Then we have what's called authentic leadership. And this is pretty much what it sounds like. It's about being real. It means leading from who you actually are. You're passionate, you live by your values, especially when things get tough, and you're not putting on some leader mask. It's all about building genuine relationships and leading from a place of real integrity.
Now check this out. Here is a fascinating and honestly pretty startling statistic. A study looked at 21 countries during the COVID-19 crisis. It found that the nations led by men had an average of 214 deaths per million people, but the nations led by women, just 36. Now, one theory for this huge difference points to an interactive leadership style, which is often, though not always, associated with women that really favors collaboration, empathy, and listening to the experts. It's a powerful look at just how much leadership approach matters.
Okay, so no matter what your big picture style is, all leadership behavior pretty much boils down to one fundamental balancing act. Are you focused more on the task that needs to get done, or on the people who are doing the task?
So just take a second to think about it for yourself. When you're in charge of something, what's your go-to move, your natural tendency? Do you lean towards making plans and monitoring progress, or are you all about supporting and developing the people on your team?
See, these two mindsets lead to totally different behaviors. Task orientation is about creating structure. It's clarifying roles, making plans, solving problems. A perfect example is the legendary football coach Nick Saban and his super methodical, task-focused system they call the process. On the other side, you've got people orientation, or consideration. This is all about supporting, developing, and empowering your team. There's a great story about an Army sergeant major who showed his officers a video of the giving tree to teach them how to truly care for their soldiers. The best leaders, of course, learn how to dance between both.
All right, time for a twist. We spend so much time talking about leaders, right? But we completely forget about the other half of the equation. The truth is, a leader is absolutely nothing without followers, and understanding them, well, that's one of leadership's biggest secrets.
So the ideal follower isn't just a passive employee who does what they're told. Not at all. An effective follower is someone who thinks for themselves,
who can offer constructive criticism, and who is actively engaged in making the team and the organization better. In a lot of ways, they're leaders too. But as we know, not everyone fits that mold.
So, a step away from that ideal, you have the conformist. This is your classic yes person. They're active, they're willing, but they never question or challenge anything. They just do what they're told, which can be really dangerous if no one is thinking critically about the orders they're given.
Then there are the folks who do think critically, but they do it from the sidelines. This is the alienated follower. These people are often really smart, they see all the problems, but they've just become cynical. They're passive. They complain and criticize instead of jumping in to help find a solution.
And maybe even worse is the passive follower. This person doesn't bring critical thinking or active participation to the table. They need constant supervision, they show zero initiative, they basically just leave all the thinking and all the work to their boss.
And finally, we have the most politically savvy of the group, the pragmatic survivor. This person has mastered all the other styles, and they switch between them depending on what will benefit them personally and keep them out of trouble. They aren't playing to win for the team, they're just playing to survive.
Okay, so we've defined leadership, we've looked at the styles, and we've talked about followers. Let's finish up with the practical stuff, the tools of the trade. How do leaders actually influence people and get things done?
Well, power really comes in two main flavors. You've got hard power, which comes from your official position. It's your job title, your ability to give rewards, or your power to punish. But more and more, modern leadership runs on soft power. This comes from who you are as a person. It includes your expertise, and also what's called referent power, which you get just by being respected and admired.
So how do you use that power? Through specific tactics. The number one tool is rational persuasion, just using facts and logic. But don't underestimate helping people to like you. We're all more willing to do things for people we have a good relationship with. That connects to reciprocity, this simple, powerful idea that if you help others, they'll want to help you back. Of course, you can't go it alone, so you have to develop allies. And sometimes the most effective tactic is the simplest. Just ask for what you want. And hey, if all else fails, you can always appeal to a higher authority. They're all different tools for different jobs. So after going through this whole playbook, the final question really just comes back to you. See, leadership isn't just for generals and CEOs. It's a choice you get to make every single day. You can choose to focus on the task or on the people. You can choose to use hard power or soft power. You can even choose to be an effective follower who leads right from where you stand. The only question is, what will you choose? What kind of leader will you be?